It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this. I'm Jeff Grubb. I write for GamesBeat.com, and my room is dark, and yet my cameras are clear. I'm recording on the Keo Pro from Razer and the Facecam from Elgato. The Elgato Facecam is a new $200 camera. I wanted to kind of do a quick showdown here between the two cameras that are my favorite webcams at the moment, and I think the results are... they're both fantastic. They are both really good. I think they are at the upper bounds of what makes sense to spend on a webcam, around that $200 range. But they do still make a lot of sense to me, I think, in terms of price to performance, and then in terms of just ease of use. Both these cameras you could just plug in and go, and in most cases they are going to give you really solid results. If you make just some slight tweaks and some settings, either whether that's in the software that comes with them, which we'll check out in a second, or if it comes down to just you like going in OBS and moving things around in the Windows settings a little bit, either way you're going to get just better results if you do that. But it doesn't require a lot of setup, a lot of headaches. It doesn't require adapters. It doesn't require a bunch of... you just plug them in and you go. And both of them give you great results at 1080p 60 at the upper end, and that's what I'm recording in now, and I think both look really good at 1080p 60. And I'll say that for the Facecam, that is where I think it shines. It's very easy to get a good 1080p 60 image out of it. It took a little bit of finagling with the Keo Pro, just a little bit, not a ton. Mostly just going into OBS, make sure that the settings were selected, not default settings. Just I had to go with custom, set that stuff up myself. Facecam was just like, no, we're ready to go. We're just going to do this. And I think the Facecam, well, right now looking at this, personally, I like the Keo Pro a little bit better in terms of the way it looks, because it's like a Pepsi challenge sort of thing. I think the sharpness of the Keo Pro looks really good. I think though the Facecam still also looks fantastic. The colors are right on point. We'll talk all about this in a second when we get to it, but I'll just continue to say that I setting up the Facecam. This is it looked this good right out of the box, ready to go. And the Keo Pro required a little bit more than that, and that's a surprise, because I thought the Keo Pro was going to be sort of the one for a winner for a long time in terms of ease of use. And already we got the Elgato coming out and being like, no, this thing's just going to work so well out of the box. And then on top of that, you get this really great software package that gives you even more controls if you want it, and those controls are great and much better than the Keo. You know what? While we got this comparison here, we'll do more of a comparison here in a second. Right now, let's just go jump and take a look at this software, because I think that the software tells a little bit of the story here as well. Elgato doing a really good job with the Camera Hub. Let's check it out. Here is the Elgato Camera Hub software. It's very handy, very useful, very simple to use, and yet it has a lot of options to ensure that you can get the most out of the Facecam. You see here, you could select your input, and you can have multiple Facecams connected to your computer all at once, and you can control them all here. It makes it very easy to, set them up for different situations, different lighting, different, angles. You get your picture settings right here. I think that it's pretty simple to get this stuff dialed in. It's one thing that I tend to value with the webcam is, does it feel like it's easy to make adjustments even if you don't necessarily know what you're doing? If you come in here and you start moving around these dials, do you feel like you can get a better picture? So far, my experience with that has been, yeah, absolutely. I think one of the highlights here is this exposure option, and it's not just one simple exposure slider that you get in Windows. Like that option is probably there if you try to adjust the Facecam in OBS. But when you're adjusting it here, you can set it to automatic, but you could also get shutter speed and ISO separately. And so you could set your shutter speed, and then you could set your ISO to try to get the best image here. And I really appreciate that. It gives you a chance to really dial in the image even more. Then you have white balance and you have processing. I will say that the image processing for like this noise reduction is pretty rough. Ooh, that is over smooth. That is, it almost looks like a filter. I would not use this, I don't think. I suppose if I was like a tiny little image and noise was being a problem, I would use it, I guess, maybe. But yeah, that's all. I guess I just really appreciate the detail that you see when you turn off the noise reduction. Compare this to the Keo Pro and Razer Synapse, and you know, Razer Synapse has its issues. Right before this, my camera would not show up in Razer Synapse. The Razer Kio Pro would not, because Windows was recognizing it as a USB video device, and I tried a different USB port. I tried to reinstall the drivers. I actually had to just uninstall the camera and then restart the computer, and now it's recognized in here. And that's the kind of headache I think you can run into with Razer Kio and the Razer software. You know, I guess we'll have to wait and see how Elgato does, but this software so far has been, you know, very reliable. But looking at these two pieces of software, I like the way the camera hub is set up better. The big, you know, video preview window here, and then having a long list of options, as opposed to this sort of scrunched up Razer Synapse experience that puts everything at the top of the window. It's odd. But you also just have more options, at least more options directly in the software. Now, I mean, the Razer Kio Pro is a very capable camera. It has some neat features like these different field of views, and this is hardware. This is inside the camera itself that is changing. And so go to narrow, and now that's just messed up. We come back to wide and give you that wide angle. We'll stick with medium, actually. Yeah, so there we go. So I guess we'll get into that. Let's get into that when we go back to look at these cameras in comparison. All right, and here we see the Kio Pro versus the Facecam. Here should be the Kio Pro, and here's the Facecam. They're both great. They both look fantastic, I think, for, you know, USB webcams. This is really good stuff here. The first thing that I noticed is that it was very easy to get a good image out of the Facecam. You barely have to make any adjustments. It just sort of works. It's really good that way. And I'm really happy with that. It was, you know, even easier than the Kio Pro. Now, the Kio Pro, I think I'm able to get to look a little bit sharper, a little bit. I like this. I like the way it looks. I think that the colors are good. The colors are good on both. I think that the colors are a little bit more accurate on the Elgato Facecam, but you know, I've said this before about the Kio Pro. I like the way that it processes images. I like the way that it mostly, it processes images really well. And you know, you can adjust it so you probably get the colors a little bit more accurate. But I like the way it looks, and I think that it tends to make skin and hair and everything really stand out and look really good. I think that you know, but the Facecam is also so good, it might just come down to your taste and what you prefer. And if you want that color accuracy, the Facecam is really good there. But yeah, just looking at the detail, I think you could see that you could see a little bit more of my white hairs on the Kio Pro than on the Facecam. I guess once I do this, you could kind of, yeah, I mean, yeah, again, it just comes down to taste. I think they really stand out on the Kio Pro, but they might look more natural on the Facecam. That might be more accurate to what it really looks like in real life. I think that they're both really good cameras, and I'm really impressed with both of them. Both of these are going to be excellent choices for streamers, people creating content, people creating videos. I've used the Kio Pro for quite some time now on my content, and I've had no issues with it. I love it. People have complimented my camera, and I'm like, and they're like, "Hey, what do you use it?" I'm like, "I use a webcam," and people are pretty blown away. I would not blink an eye at anyone creating, you know, trying to create their own professional YouTube channel using either of these cameras. Real quick though, let's try some different lighting. Right now I have a kind of a key light on me right here, and I have the room light. Let's mess around with some of the lighting and see how it goes. And I think immediately, you know, we haven't changed anything with the cameras. We just turned off the light, and I think both of them still look really good. This is just the key light now, and I would probably go in there and make some adjustments, but let's just keep messing around with stuff. The sun is up, so I'm gonna turn off the key light, but the sun will still kind of be coming through the blinds a little bit. So now this is a dark room, and yet I think both look really good. I think the Kio Pro continues to really be impressive, I think, in terms of its ability to just look good in any scenario. But let's be fair. let's make some adjustments. Let's see if we can get both these cameras up to look even better. So let's start with the Keo Pro real quick. I'll just make some quick adjustments here. I'm bringing up the Windows configure tool for cameras right here in OBS. And I think what I'm going to do is let's turn down the exposure a little bit. So that's going to add a little bit of fuzz. So let's actually turn it back down and turn up the gain instead. And turn up the brightness a little bit. Turn up the contrast with it. And I think that looks fantastic. So we are basically just lit by, you know what, we have this overhead light on still. Let's turn that off. So now we are just lit by the computer monitors and the window out here. And we have a computer monitor behind me that is actually maybe messing it up a little bit. And I think the Keo Pro looks pretty good for this situation. And I just made a few tiny tweaks. Let's try the Facecam now. And I expect pretty great things from the Facecam in terms of low light performance as well. So from what I've seen, it's been great about that. Now it doesn't have gain controls, and that's, you know, that just means you're going to have to find the brightness elsewhere. The thing is that this looks pretty good considering the situation that we're in. But I think I'll just turn up the exposure one dial, and then turn up the brightness, and there we go. I'm going to turn up the contrast a little bit to help with that. And then maybe let's turn down the sharpness so that we get a little bit less noise. And yeah, I mean, I think this looks great. Both cameras looking really solid in the scenario. And I think if you just have a room light you turn on, like let's just go turn on a room light. This is a regular room light. And to me, this looks great in both situations. And I think that if you just have regular lighting, if you just have a lamp, both these cameras are going to look super, super nice. When it comes down to it, what I really want from a webcam is plug and play and go and just send people on their way, maybe make a few adjustments in some easy software. And as we saw, the Elgato Facecam with the camera hub has that. And I think if you just want something that's going to just work, you kind of can't go wrong with either. But I was really impressed with the Facecam in terms of that kind of performance. All right, let's wrap this up. Let's go back to just the Facecam. Okay, so I think, you know, when you look at it like this, I think side-by-side comparisons, I think, do the Facecam justice. But when you just like set it up and look at it and you're like, if this is how I was recording my videos, it's beautiful. I think it looks great. This is a really good camera. It's $200 for that price. It's a bit much. You can maybe, if you want to get into it, if you want to get a cam link or a USB stick and set up things with a GoPro, yeah, you could probably, like a used GoPro, you could probably get slightly better images. But you know, I get it. You're busy. You're focused on maybe more on your audio right now because, you know, people care more about your audio. You're most of the time, if you're streaming games, you're going to be a tiny little camera in the corner at most. And what you want is something that doesn't look cheap, but also isn't going to be a headache or isn't going to be something you have to set up or buy adapters for or buy separate tripods for or something like that. All that stuff can make a difference and you could see some improvement. But if you want something that you just plug in and go, I think $200 is probably the most I would pay for a webcam. And that's what they're asking for. And the results are really, really good. This is really good stuff. And if you are sort of finding yourself in the Elgato ecosystem where everything is sort of working together with, you know, your Elgato Stream Deck and everything, the integrations that they have set up, like you might want to just keep going with them. But it makes some sense. I mean, that's the whole idea of what they're doing here. This marketing push by Corsair, who owns Elgato, saying, you know, trying to create all this stuff for streamers and make it all work together and integrate with one another. The idea is, you know, you buy a couple of Elgato things, and then when you go out to buy the next thing, you're going to also buy the Elgato stuff, even if it's a little bit more expensive, because it all works together. that's not, I wouldn't undersell the benefits of that. That you really, if you are looking to make your setup just work and be easy, Elgato sort of got that stuff on lockdown right now. So yeah, I've been impressed with a lot of their stuff recently. The Facecam especially is really, really good. So I think what I'm going to do is I might swap it out. I might swap out the Keo Pro for a little bit for my podcast and stuff like that. See how it goes. See how I'm feeling about it. But right now, I think I would probably personally prefer the Keo Pro. You see, my kids just turned off the light and still looks great. I would probably personally prefer the Keo Pro, I think. But if it keeps giving me headache with like the software and stuff, I am going to instantly just put it away and just use the Facecam instead. Like, I just don't want to deal with the headaches. Like, I don't have time to be putting out fires with my setup when I just want to be making a podcast, making a video, and getting back to work on like writing my stuff for GamesBeat. Like, I want to just kind of keep that stuff as simple as possible. And any headache that the Keo introduces because of Razer software is going to be a huge strike against it. Even if I think I prefer the image personally a little bit more, there is nothing wrong with the way the Facecam looks. The Facecam looks great, and the benefits of it are easy setup. I think it's also a little bit easier to get 60 frames per second out of it than the Keo Pro. Keo Pro obviously can also do 1080p 60. They both can, but getting 1080p 60 that like looks smooth out of the Keo Pro, while possible and easy and it's all there, it's easier on the Facecam. The Facecam I just kind of plugged in and went, and it's like, yeah, here's 1080p 60 that looks smooth and great. And I had to kind of make some adjustments and make sure things were set up right with the Keo Pro to get those results. Okay, that's gonna do it for me. It's hot. I'm gonna go cool down. I'm gonna go watch a baseball game. Actually, that's what I'm doing today, and do a podcast first. But yeah, all right, everybody. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Let me know if you have any questions about this. I think the Facecam is fantastic. I would. Here's the thing. I would definitely choose either one of these over anything from Logitech right now. Personally, I would. But maybe the Brio is kind of there, but probably not even that. And the AverMedia cams, those are still very good as well. But I think these are the two at the top of the class right now. Okay, thanks for watching, everybody. Until next time, take care of yourself. Have a good one, and goodbye.